Hello everyone, I am Shruti Vijayargi from BISP Solutions. There is another video on the statistics functions of Excel. This is the basic descriptive statistics I am going to explain. So, what is descriptive statistics first? When analyzing data such as the marks achieved by 100 students for a piece of coursework, it is possible to use both descriptive and inferential statistics in your analysis of their marks. So descriptive statistics is the term given to the analysis of data that helps describe, show, or summarize data in a meaningful way, such that, for example, patterns might emerge from the data. Descriptive statistics do not, however, allow us to make conclusions beyond the data we have analyzed and reach conclusions regarding any hypothesis I might have made. So they are simply a way to describe our data. So descriptive statistics can be categorized into two categories. The first one is the measures of central tendency and the measures of spread. So measure of central tendency, these are the ways of describing the central position of a frequency distribution for a group of data. A measure of central tendency in a single value that attempts to describe a set of data by identifying the central position within the set of data. And this there comes the three functions of Excel's mean, mode, and median. And another category is measures of spread. These are the ways of summarizing a group of data by describing how spread out the scores are. So what is the mean? The mean is the most popular and well-known measure of central tendency. The mean is equals to the sum of all the values in the dataset divided by the number of values in the dataset. Next is the mode. The mode is the most frequent score in our dataset. And median. Median is the middle score for a set of data that has been arranged in order of magnitude. Next, in the category of measures of spread, there comes range. Range is nothing, is the difference between the largest data value in our dataset and the smallest value in our dataset. The quartiles of a ranked set of data values are the 3 points that divide the data set into four equal groups. And I'm showing you how these functions work in Excel. Next is the variance and next is the standard deviation. So variance is the measures how far each number in the set is from the mean. So statistical variance gives a measure of how the data distributes itself about the mean or expected value. Unlike range that only looks at the extremes, the variance looks at the data points and then determines their distribution. And last is the standard deviation gives an idea how close the entire set of data is to the average value. So the data sets with a small standard deviation has tightly grouped and data sets with large standard deviations have data spread out over a wide range of values. And there are some other functions also comes in the descriptive statistics which are sum, count, max, min, var, dev, sq, sum sq and percentile. So what this function means and how they use in Excel. I'm showing these all functions in Excel that how we calculate mean, median, mode, range, quartile, sum, count and all these functions. So let's suppose I have a data set for all for some data. Okay, so first I have to calculate mean for this data set. So I explain mean is the uh, most popular and well-known measure of central tendency. It is equal to the sum of all values and it divided by the number of values in the data set. We can say that it is the average of the data set. So mean is calculated using the average function and then pass the array of data sets and then close. So the mean of this data set is 39.0556. Next we have to calculate median. median is calculated in Excel using the function median. Median is the middle value for the dataset. So select the function median, pass the array, and then close. So this is the median of this dataset. That means it is the middle value for this dataset. And mode is nothing, is the most frequent value comes in the dataset. So use the mode function of Excel and pass the array of the data, then enter. So you can see this 23 comes in 3 times in this data set, while other values are not repeated. So mode is 20, which is the frequent data in the data set. Then we have to calculate range. So range is nothing, is the difference between the maximum and minimum value of the data set. So we can calculate maximum in the data set using the max function of Excel and pass the array and then enter. So the maximum value for this data set is 76, and the minimum value of this data set is calculated using the min function of Excel, min, and pass the array. So 9 is the minimum value for this data set. And now range is the difference of maximum. So just select this cell and put minus sign and then minimum. So the range is calculated by put an equal sign, pass the maximum value, then minus minimum value, and this will be the range for this data set. Next is the quartile. Quartiles is the ring set of data values, and it divides the data set into four equal groups. Okay, so lower quartile, or we can say it is the first quartile, which is defined as the middle number between the smallest number and the median of the data set. That means, okay, so let's calculate quartile using the quartile function and then pass the array. And because I am calculating lower quartile, so I have to pass second argument 1 and then enter. So it is the lower quartile and it is the middle value of the first value and between the median. Okay. Next, median or the second quartile using the quartile function. So pass the array and pass the second argument 2. You see this value and the median value using median function is equal, because median or the second quartile is the gives the median of the data set, and the upper quartile is the middle value between the median and the highest value of the data set. So using quartile function, pass an array and the second argument is 3, and this is the median between the median and the last one. So these are called quartiles. And the interquartile is nothing, is the difference between the upper quartile and the lower quartile. So I'm calculating interquartile here. So type in equal sign upper quartile minus lower quartile and enter. So interquartile is the difference between the upper and the lower quartile. And next we have variance. Variance means gives a measure of how the data distributes itself about the mean or expected value. So Excel provides us where function. Where function is used to compute statistical variance from the sample data. So here is the sample data. So I am calculating using where function statistical variance. It will calculate statistical variance for the sample data. Okay, and next we have standard deviation. Standard deviation gives you an idea how close the entire set of data is to the average value. So in Excel, standard deviation is calculated using stdev function, and pass the array of data and then enter. So this is the standard deviation of our data. There are some other functions which are also provided by the Excel, and this also comes under the category of descriptive statistics. So the sum is nothing as the sum of all the data set. For this, Excel provides sum function and pass the array of data set and then enter. Count means that how many data are available in the data set. That means count counting number. That's like I have data of 10 students, I have data of 20 students, so this value is the count. So count is calculated using count function, and we have how many data is here. We are just not need to calculate it manually, we just use count, and that means there are total number of 18 data here. Okay, the next function is the where-p, and this function is also used for computing statistical variance, but for an entire population data. If we have entire population data, here is the sample data I am using to show, but how this will calculate I am showing you with the where-p function, where-p and pass the array of data, then enter. But this is calculated for the population data. Okay. Dev-SQ, this function also calculates the sum of the squared deviation from the sample mean. So it is the sum of the squared deviation. So Dev-SQ function and pass the array. So it will calculate the squared deviation. Okay. Next is the SumSQ. This function returns the sum of squares of the supplied set of values. Sum of the square. Okay, so it will calculate the sum and then squared value of the data set. And next we have the percentile. Percentile means is a measure used in statistics indicating the value below which a given percentage of observations in a group of observations fall. For example, the 20th percentile is the value below which 20% of the observations may be found. So how this is calculated in Excel using the percentile function? The first argument is the array of the data, and the second is the kth value, which calculates the kth percentile of the data. So k argument must be between 0 to 1. You can pass as a percentage value, or you can pass any value between 0 to 1. Suppose I pass 0.5 here, so it will give this output. So this is the basic calculation of all these descriptive statistics in Excel. I tried to explain. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Thanks for watching.